What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today's episode we're going to get back on the Bad Boy project. If you guys haven't seen the last two videos of this bike, 1995 Harley-Davidson Bad Boy, my father just recently picked up, brought it to me, and we're going to go through the bike, get it dialed in for him, fix a couple things. Basically where I left off on the last video, let me walk over here. We got the whole back end of the bike disassembled, so basically the swing arm, fender struts, all that sort of stuff. Was able to take everything apart, send it to powder coat, and I have issues. So I don't know exactly how much of the texture you guys can kind of see in the video, but this is what I got back from powder. I went ahead and kind of assembled the bike to see if I could, I don't know, tolerate it, and it's bad. I'm not happy with this at all. It should be nice and smooth, much like that oil tank is, and much like the factory genuine Harley upright for the backrest. You see how nice and smooth it is, and then when it gets down here to the side plates, it just turns into a golf ball, orange peel, whatever you want to call it, and that's powder. I did get the rear fender kind of waxed and cleaned up for the most part, got most of the scratches out, got even some of the imperfections from the bag off the top of it. It's a little dusty right now. So let's go over what we are going to do today and show you some of the goodies that we have. All right, just a few things real quick on this table. Most of this stuff is used. Most of this stuff, like these mirrors, are not V-winged mirrors. These are actually genuine Harley takeoff mirrors that somebody just packaged back into the package that the mirrors that they installed on their bike came from. Same thing with these grips. This is a genuine Harley derby cover, right? Where is it at? Oh, there it is. Right there, it's got the HD on it. Really good shape derby cover. I talked about this being real bad, and this one is, right there's the HD on that as well. I was also able to source, since the brake pedal pad is a little worn, a genuine Harley brand new NOS brake pedal, shifter, NOS Harley-Davidson, says the word Harley-Davidson on it. So that was really cool, hard to kind of come by. To correct where the turn signals are currently on the motorcycle, these are the two mounts for the handlebars to get them up on the controls. We got that. I got some hardware for the rear pulley, and I'll show you guys what's going on with that. Original set of reflectors. I put some fresh tape on it. I cleaned everything off, put some fresh tape on it. Dad wants to put the reflectors back on the down tubes. The insert for the front brake caliper was missing. I've always loved these hubcaps, especially on the Springer Bad Boys, because that little shape, that little oval, is very similar to the cutout in the wheel. So the genuine Harley wheel has kind of that same oval cut. I've always loved these. New old stock rear pulley cover. I know someone commented below saying don't put this on there, but my dad loves these things. I kind of dig them. I think they do add like a nice little, I don't know, a little something extra to it. So I don't know how long this thing's been sitting in this package, but it's old. I feel like older chrome was better chrome. I could be wrong, but just to me, the new stuff don't seem to hold up at all. Almost perfect. Genuine Harley 21-inch front wheel for a Springer. I need to clean it. That's just grease and stuff from getting the tire installed, but brand new Harley-Davidson Dunlop tire for it. And that's what I'm talking about by a steel hub. You actually have to put a nut and bolt through to hold your rotor on. Spokes are clean for the most part, so got all the original decals and everything on it, so super happy to have this. Now the Springers, like I said in previous video, the Springer, the hub offset is a little different than your standard Y-Glide, so you do have to get a specific front wheel for the Timken Baron Springers. Yeah, that was a hard source to find when that clean, because the one on the bike is not as clean. Plus there is a bend somewhere on the wheel, which, I don't know, when we pull it off we'll find it. Here's our old rear wheel. I've talked about it. The chrome flaking. This one's really bad. I got one in the back shed that's even worse than this. Plus the tire was worn out and everything. I had another wheel already. The chrome is, for the most part, pretty decent. There's a couple little bubbles and a fresh tire. Now this tire right here that we went with is actually a 140 compared to the factory 130. This is a 140/85 aspect ratio. This is a 130/90 aspect ratio. I don't know, I've always loved these 140s. I put them on a lot of bikes. So while I'm showing off parts that we're going to be installing on this video, there's a couple parts that probably will not get installed on this video. However, I want to show them off. In any I guess, any type of Harley-Davidson motorcycle, there's going to be those kind of holy grail parts. Those parts that you just don't see every day. You might see them in photos, but they just don't come up for sale. And when they do, sometimes they're a little pricey. Sometimes you pay good money to get hard to find items. And one of those items is going to be this leather tank pouch. So if you don't know what this is, in Harley-Davidson back in the 90s, you used to have to physically put a lock on your steering neck. Harley used to sell an actual neck lock, bar and shield, genuine Harley neck lock. Let's zoom in. And this just gave you a spot to place it. It looks really cool, but most of all, it matches the factory Bad Boy seat. So it's got the black studs, it's got the same medallion. These things are so hard to find. And I ended up coming across this one. It was kind of a little more than I wanted to pay. Gene, though, happened to reach out to me and said, hey, I want to do something for your dad. I know he's been wanting one of those tank pouches. If you find one, let me know. And, you know, based on the price, maybe we'll go in halves or do whatever as like a gift for him. So I said, all right, let me look. I found this one. Like I said, the price was, it was up there, but Gene stepped up and wanted me to surprise dad with it. He does know about this piece, so he's super happy to have this back on the bike. But the part that he does not know about is this. So like I said, it's going to have the rear backrest on it, and another kind of holy grail Bad Boy part is the studded backrest pad that matches the seat. Look at that. I've been searching and searching for this thing, and my dad does not know, so he's finding out about this like you guys are. I'm sure I'm going to get a call as soon as this video goes live. But my other Bad Boy had one on it. It actually had a NOS brand new in the package. This one's been obviously used, but it did come with all the rest of the backrest. Big shout out to Adam Garley. If you're not following Adam, he's been on the channel before, Garley's Garage. He's one of the FXR Tour builders this year, and he recently had a Bad Boy in his shop that he did a full motor build and a bunch of other really cool things. And what I did is I reached out to Adam and just said, hey, by chance, did he have any extra parts for that bike? And he goes, well, I'll ask him. So I said, I'm really just looking for the backrest. If he's got a backrest, let me know. So he messages Bill, he messages me back. Yes, he's got a backrest. Is it the short one? He messages Bill, he messages me back. Yes, it's the short one. Does it have the studs? He messages Bill, he messages me back with a picture this time so I can stop asking questions, and it was the one I needed. And he got it to me for a very fair deal, and I'm super stoked on this. So again, thank you Adam, thank you Bill, and hey, surprise dad, happy birthday. I got you a little backrest pad for your Bad Boy. We did get the swing arm back from Powder as well, and I'm actually really happy with the turnout of the swing arm. This looks as good as I wish the fender struts and everything else looks. So what I got to do first is I need to remove these bolts that they put in the holes. I need to make sure I clean out the rest of the hole. So I'm going to run a tap through there, clean all that stuff out, and then we're going to start getting this stuff mocked back up on the bike. All right, let's get to work. Now that we got the swing arm all prepped and everything ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and I got a little jack stand back here. I did put the axle inside the swing arm, and what we're going to do is we're going to set the axle on top of this little jack stand and carefully maneuver the rest of the swing arm through the bike. I'm going to get out of the way of the camera. The brake will have to go through both parts, so let's go ahead and start maneuvering the little bits and pieces, and then we'll pick this thing up and actually get the bolts through. Bring our brake caliper inside the swing arm. So now everything inside the swing arm is inside the swing arm. That's going to be a little bit of a trick. Like I said, I've never done one of these. Oh, let's see. Alright, I get that up over the frame. Alright, hey. So the actual shock mount, there's like a little crossbar. You got to get it over that, which is cool because now it actually holds it for me. So I can kind of start getting all this stuff into a better place. We'll get this roughly pressed between the two bearings. Like I said in the past video, you just gotta hold your tongue right. I meant to show you guys earlier, look how clean I got everything in there. Got everything degreased on the back side of the motor and the transmission inside the fender. All nice and clean all the way through. Gonna look real good once everything's back together. But back to what I'm doing. This little ball right here that I'm actually putting those 2 screws into, you see the little check valve. There's flat spots on there that you're gonna hold. So I'm gonna get a big crescent wrench over there, kind of to that side of the little valve over there. We're gonna hold it, and then I'm gonna crank these down, and I think it said 120 foot-pounds of torque to get this cinched down, so I'll double check the book, but let's get it kind of at least snugged, get the swing arm in there, make sure it's not binding, and then we'll torque it. All right, kind of made a little mistake. This washer actually goes between the swing arm and the frame, so this big thick one, we're just gonna drop it in there. I don't know, I just wasn't paying attention, and I went back and looked at the manual and was like, oh crap, yeah, that's right, the washer goes in between there to give it, you know, so that way the frame and the swing arm don't just hit. So this should be a very important lesson. If it's your first time doing something, just take your time, look at the manual, don't make the same mistake I did. So anyways, the washer is going to drop in there. I'm going to go ahead and cinch this bolt back in. The locking washer still goes to the outside of the head, so that I did right. The big washer just goes in between the two. So let's tighten this back up. We just got those bolts right there tightened down to 140 foot-pounds. I think the book called for 120 to 150. I've actually already got the shock bolts in as well. Right now, seeing this much of the swing arm on this side of the frame, I'm thinking I'm gonna be a little too low. And that's with no weight on it. That's just it sitting. So I kind of like to see about half that amount of swing arm. Before we move any further, I'm gonna take those out and I'm gonna run them in some because that's gonna be too low. So let me remove those bolts. I'm gonna run those eyelets in a little bit, probably 3 full turns, tighten it back up, and then start putting this thing back together. We got the wheel right here. We're getting ready to put the pulley on it. This is a genuine Harley-Davidson kit. This is their acorn nut kit that they offered back in the 90s. I don't know if they still make it. My dad used to do these on his bikes back then. I've done them on a few bikes since then. My last Bad Boy actually had these on there. So I already opened this up and installed the studs so that way the Loctite, before I go to torque the nuts on, the Loctite's nice and dry, basically. We're going to put our pulley on there. It's just a 5-bolt pulley. And then the chrome cover, I got it opened up. Ooh, look at that shine. So like I said, inside this kit, it's going to come with some chrome washers. It's got your instructions, tells you how to install everything. If you wanted to try to search for this kit, I found it on eBay. Actually, this kit's been out since the 80s. If you don't know Harley-Davidson part numbers, the older numbers, I know a lot of the new stuff, they don't do this anymore, but there's a 5 digits dash 2 digits. Usually the 2 digits is the year that the item came out. It's going to come with a chrome washer. Washer goes on. All 5 spots. Again, there's like kind of a machine side and a cleaner side. And then we're going to put some Loctite on here, but it has acorn nuts. And then you're going to cinch these down and torque them. I like this look, especially on these older Evos. They did acorn nuts on the fender struts. So it just kind of adds a little bit more of the matching hardware. This cover, custom chrome cover, I like it a lot. It comes all the way to the edge. The cover that's on my FXR is actually a drag specialty. I feel like these holes are too small on my drag specialty one, and this is cut back a little bit more than this, so you see a little bit more of the old pulley, and I really like the way that this one looks. So, but either way, we're gonna get these things torqued on, and then we're gonna get this thing on this bike. It's the next day and I got a new look. What do you think? Huh? Getting ready for my East Coast trip. I kind of wanted to slim it down so I don't have to mess with it as much on the road, but either way, that's not what this is about. Not this face. We're talking about this bad boy right here. Got the back end pretty much situated for the most part. Like I said, we're still gonna take those fender struts off, have them repowder coated, all that kind of stuff. So as far as right now goes, the back end's done, got the wheel on. Anyways, let's get to the front of this bike. First thing I wanna do is I wanna go and get these turn signals off. I wanna get this homemade mount thing that they got going. I wanna remove that. I wanna get these turn signals back up here with the new mirrors. I wanna put the new grips on and just keep working our way throughout this video. So yeah, let's move you guys in closer. I don't know how good the camera is kind of showing what's going on here, but the mounts, whatever mount that they made that they bolted to the front of this frame, from what it looks like, a little 1/2-inch bolt with a couple jam nuts in on here to hold the turn signal, well, somewhat tight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let these turn signals just kind of dangle a little bit, get this mount fully out of the way, and then I'm gonna see, I think I can probably swing the light through the bottom part of the frame down here and not have to remove the gas tank to disconnect the harness, so it doesn't look like they spliced in the wires to make this move, and then we'll run the wires back up through. Well, actually, they had to have done something because the wires should be going the same thing up here in the top, which you can't see in the camera, but the wires should be going up there, so I'm probably going to start to remove the tank to get to the harness to fully route everything correctly. But let's just get this mount off right now. Loosen all the way up. And as we're spinning it, it's spinning out of the turn signal and the bracket. We'll just let that hang. We can leave that there. Let's go to the other side, do the same thing. And the same thing on the front. Now I still got to go by the Harley shop. They actually have the factory clip that goes in here to hold your clutch cable. They actually have that at the dealership in stock, believe it or not. Maybe in the next video, whatever, I'll show you what the part number is on that if you got any questions or you're trying to look for one yourself. But I'm going to go ahead and cut these just to get them out of the way just for now. We will not be zip tying this clutch cable back on the bike. For the sake of the video, we're just going to pull this gas tank off to disconnect the harness and put it back on. But I actually want to take this fully off and properly drain it so that I can, when I go to paint and detail this motor up, I like to have this gas tank off anyways. So on these soft tails, this is actually a dual tank on the Evos. The twin cams, it's a one-piece tank. But on the Evos, you probably heard them referred to as a split tank. You actually have a left and a right gas tank. So we're going to be removing the right tank right now. It's 3 bolts. You got one straight down up here on the top. Kind of where I'm at right now where you don't really see. That one that I removed that you did get to see, and then there's another one up on this other top spot as well. And we still have our fuel crossover line hooked up. We still have all our vent lines hooked up. Slide it off the mounts a little bit. Man, there's wires everywhere in here. My lines are coming up right here, and then they're wrapping around. I don't know if this is showing it real good, but still got all my fuel line hooked up down there. I've cut this one zip tie, and it's looking like my turn signal harness should be, there is stuff going everywhere over here. It should be, this quick little job is going to turn into a not so quick little job. They actually got it wrapped around a bunch of stuff, so what I need to do is, I think I need to go ahead and just fully remove this tank. Let me get this tank fully gone, taken off, remove this line and drain it. I hate removing these gas tanks. There's literally no clean way of doing it, and now my whole entire garage smells of fuel. Alright, so we're going to depin our harnesses for our turn signal. I'm going to take a quick picture with my phone, and then I'm going to depin these, be able to pull my harness out. I can put my turn signals up to the top, and then we'll reroute it. While I have this off, I want to clean all this and clean these rocker box tops. I want to make sure everything's nice and clean before it all goes back together. But also, I'm not putting that back on until we detail the motor, which is going to be in the next video. So let me depin this. You've seen that happen a million times on this channel. Let me get a photo. We'll start putting the turn signals where they go. Got the turn signals depinned and off the bike. We'll go ahead and remove these mirrors. little 1/2 inch nut down here at the bottom. And just like with anything, when I remove something, try to clean everything around it, because when something's out of the way, it makes it way easier to reach those areas. So like I said, genuine Harley-Davidson takeoffs. They actually say Harley-Davidson on the stem. Going to zoom in or not, slide in like so. What's nice about these older mirrors is you're actually able to tighten up your Phillips screws to adjust them and get them to stay permanent, whereas the old ones, once they start, or the newer ones, when they start to wear out, they're just done for. So we got our turn signal. Now, when I took these apart, I noticed real quick that there was a piece of purple tape right there, and then the other side had a brown. The purple tape was to the left side. I don't know how your bike at home is gonna be, but that's what's on this bike. So what I'm gonna do is you just simply screw this piece down into your turn signal, and it's got a little 1/2 inch nut. Give it a nice little snug. Put our jam nut on there. Now there's like a little dowel pin to help center this. Now don't worry about the orientation of this. Mostly focus on getting your mirror lined up. I like to have it out just a little bit. And just hold it nice and firm. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, which is a 5/8, I believe. And then you just kind of get your mirror or your turn signal set up to where you want it. When you step back, it should be pretty much the same as my headlight. And then you just go in here. Now as far as the harness goes, it just routes along your handlebar wires. Your little crimps here. Oh, we're missing one there at the top. Try to run your wire where it's nice and flat the whole time. And I like to run the turn signal wire to the back side of your other harness so you don't see it as easy. Alright, OEM mirrors back on. Turn signals in their correct spot and location. Everything's adjusted. I got all the wires ran down here real nicely. Kind of zip tied it back the way that the factory had it. I went ahead and kind of cleaned the top of the motor while I was over here. Obviously cleaned the frame up. Now the reflectors that we talked about earlier in the video, I'm not going to put those on just yet because I got to tape the frame up to paint the motor. Same thing this side. Got your mirror, grip, and the turn signal. So let's real quick, let's get this pad switched out with this pad. Got a fresh nut for the back side of it. It's probably never been off the bike. Some cleaner spray. New one on there. Now this is a self-locking nut, so what it's going to do is it'll tighten on itself. So no need for Loctite or washers or anything like that. Now you don't want to make it super tight because you don't want to rip the stud out of the pad, but you want to make it tight enough to where this thing doesn't rotate around. Got the pad on there looking nice, and let's go over there and do the shift peg real quick as well. Now the one that was on this bike was a little bent, so this is actually a replacement arm that I had. I've already put it on. This is a genuine Harley piece. One thing I like to do if I'm using this style of peg, it says the word Harley on it. I want to test it on there first and see where Harley's going to end up at. So when I go put it on there, I get it almost as tight as it's going to go. Harley-Davidson's all the way at the bottom. I want to see the word. So let's take it back off. And what you can do is you can get a washer. You sit the washer on there. And what this is going to do is it's going to clock it like a shim, get different sizes and see what it does. But this washer worked out perfect to where when it starts to tighten up, boom, Harley's going to be sitting right there on the top. You're going to see it. It's going to look good. So I'm going to put a dab of Loctite on here, spin this back in as tight as I can get it with my hand. And then once a Loctite settles, it should be good to go. And just like that, there it is. You see the word at the top, so just add a little detail. It's not a necessity, but I enjoy it. I want to see it. All right, let's get to pulling the transmission cover. Let's get that thing switched out. So the first thing we need to do is we need to drain the transmission on these early 5 speeds. Right here is your drain plug. That's a little Torx bit. We're going to pull this out. While I'm down here, I'm going to go ahead and fix this. I don't like the way that this is kind of kinked. I don't know what's going on with here, but that should be more parallel with the frame. So we'll loosen this up, straighten that up, drain it, get this swapped out for a new one. Make sure you don't lose your little drain plug. Now another thing that's bugged me is the routing of the ignition harness. For some reason, this goes on the other side. I don't like that, so I'm gonna push it back to where it goes and then let our clutch cable run freely like it was. So now that we got this off, check your O-ring. You got a little O-ring on the end of this. Make sure everything is going nice and smooth. Kind of place it on here. You spin it down as much as you can. And when it comes to a stop, you do not want to over tighten this. Just give it a little snug against the O-ring. And that's it. That's all you need. Little ramp ball, whatever they want to call it. It's got a keyway, it goes in there. I don't even know if I got the camera set up for you guys to see everything. There we go. Basically just hook, line, and sinker it on there. And then our big C-clip goes back in. Easy breezy. So make sure our surface area is nice and clean. Put our gasket on there like so. And this whole edge cleaned up real good. Everything in there is secured. So then this will go on. Ooh, almost lost my gasket. Line our two dowels up. Now I don't know if you noticed when I was taking this apart how nasty this hardware looked. But I took some of my engine degreaser, not engine degreaser, but the actual same stuff that I cleaned the frame with. Sprayed it in there, rubbed it with a rag, got all the soot and everything out. Now you don't want to wire wheel these. These actually have a factory kind of zinc coating on there, and if you wire wheel it, all that nice shine will come off. But try to avoid any sort of wire brush or wire wheels or anything like that. Now, these are all the same size, so just run them in as you can. Alright, one of the last things I want to do on this video is get the front wheel swapped out. So real quick, what you got to do is you need to go ahead and remove your brake caliper. You have a bolt right here, obviously an Allen, kind of your slider bolt that your caliper will slide back and forth on. And then you have another bolt right here. It's a 12 point, but it also has a, I guess a cotter pin or something on the back side of this that keeps it from backing out. Trying to be very careful not to scratch up our silver brake caliper. Let me go on this other side. Another one of those items, but you just gotta hold your tongue just right. Boom. All right, it's got a little washer on the back side as well. And yep, that's it. We have all this apart. We're gonna examine the brakes and everything. And rear brake pads look great, but we'll see what the fronts look like. Lift this thing up just a little bit more. Should be lifted up just high enough to pull the wheel out. Got everything inside there cleaned up. All the way inside the fender. Wiped all the chrome down. Got the brake caliper, which you'll see in a little bit. All the hardware, all the rocker bolts and nuts and all that kind of stuff. Cleaned up the best I can. Let's get this camera set up. Let's get the wheel back on real quick. I already got the brake rotor and everything swapped over. And the hubcap on, so let's get this thing buttoned up. I just used this axle while I was cleaning it to hold the fender in place. So we'll get it removed, lift it up, drop our wheel in. So that went there. That just pushed in like that. This was on the other side. Now I'm replacing this gasket, a little foam gasket. You don't have to, but I bought a bunch of them a long time ago. Put our washer, put our nut on here. Now anytime you have a cable driven bike, make sure you have this thing in a proper location. You don't want it pushed all the way up, and you don't want it hanging down here and putting this at a bend. Just kind of in a natural curve with the rest of everything. All right, 50 foot-pounds. Boom. All right, the brake pads were recently replaced on this bike. I mean, they are practically brand new. So let's get this thing on there. Just like so. You see the rotor's all nice and clean. I always like to put a little bit of lube on the slider bolts. All right, camera died, so I don't know where it left off at, but front wheel is on. Got our Kiriakin hubcap on the wheel. Got our new little decal back in the front brake caliper. Looks really good in there. Everything else is torqued down. Got a few more little cosmetic things to do. Nothing too major. Probably just do that off camera, but this next video, we are detailing this motor. We're going to be pulling off the breather, pulling off any other little accessories that we can pull off, get it all ready to paint, and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do for that. Like I said, we're going to tape the frame up, we'll tape the chrome up, and all we're going to be focused on are the actual jugs and the heads. We're going to dust some paint on there. We're going to re-clean the silver fins, make it look just like factory again. Bolt the exhaust back on, change the rest of the fluids, buff the tins. Whew, there's still a lot of work to do. Like I said, I wanted to try to have this bike done before June. I don't think that's going to happen, but we're very close. So I'm going to get this video out to you guys, and like I said, the next video we'll get the motor detailed, and hopefully everything else finished up and take this bike for a ride. And then the last video will just be, I guess, heading down to Georgia with it. We'll bring it down to Georgia, get it to my dad, park this thing beside his Heritage Springer that he has, his 97. See the bikes together for the first time, because it's kind of always been, I know, one of his dreams to own a really clean Bad Boy and a really clean Heritage Springer. He's had both of them, he's just never had them at the same time, so it's going to be cool to see this bike next to that bike and get this thing all finalized and detailed up for him. So thank you guys for tagging along, watch me sit here and sweat in my garage. I really need one of those do-it-yourself AC units. Soon. That's on the list. Once the twin cam FXR is done, I'm getting air conditioning in this little shop. Sucks trying to have the garage door open, a lot of traffic and all that crap that happens outside, and it just gets muggy in here. But either way, got the bike done. Next, we gotta get these things ready for our East Coast Jam, East Coast trip. Justin's been working on his bike. He actually recorded some footage for you guys, so you'll get to see what he's been doing to that thing. I'll get this thing ready, and yeah, we're heading to Tennessee, then to New York. So follow along on that. Follow along on everything we do. And if you got any questions, as always, hit the comments. Thank you guys again. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.